And I think one of the questions that people ask when you are beginning a dynasty league, if you're dipping your toe into dynasty for the first time, is sort of how do you evaluate age when it comes to players' values? Like, how can you possibly imagine what Tom Brady's dynasty value is versus, for example, a Dak Prescott? Both outstanding quarterbacks, one the best in the world, but one 15 years younger.
Yeah, and that's absolutely the challenge, and it's often very hard to figure that out. Sometimes it has to do with how talented your team is. If you're not very good, you want to be excited to have Tom Brady because you could trade him and try to get young assets, try and get a first round pick, some young players via trade. So the perception of players' value is extremely important. That perceived value can allow you to move younger players, move draft picks, and get some older players at times because they always come at discounts. I mean, go ahead and try and get Brandon Marshall right now, or Frank Gore, or Tom Brady, Drew Brees. These guys just come so much cheaper. So it's a tough line to walk for sure. And sometimes it has to do with just how your team is built. For example, let's just say you decide to go take a few young running backs out of the gate early on in your draft, and then you end up grabbing a young tight end, and you get a quarterback, and you're a little weak at receiver. You're sitting there looking at Brandon Marshall, and he's just falling, and he's the 50th receiver off the board. You can get him and have a short-term asset at that position.
So let's imagine that your first three picks are players that are in 25 or younger in a dynasty league.
Sure.
What's ridiculous? What's like great return on your investment? Like, are you looking at a running back that gives you 5 solid years as worth it, and a tight end or a wide receiver specifically that gives you 10 years? Is the shelf life different based on any position that you're picking?
Yeah, I think this might become a theme throughout, but I definitely lean towards young players as much as possible. And sometimes you look at Jordan Howard. I think he's a terrific example. He came in last year and he played extremely well, and he was only 21 years old. I mean, some of these other guys like David Johnson,
right. Devontae Booker's 25,
exactly,
same year
exactly. Yeah, some other guys come in and they're already 24 years old. He's super young and already was that good last year. That is extremely important for me, and that allows me to feel better about investing in him. But the guys that come in at 24 and struggle a little bit, you're like, man, he should be polished by now. He should be playing well. He should come in like David Johnson, right, and already be playing good football. So when a guy like Jeremy Langford comes in and struggles early, Devontae Booker last year, who you just mentioned, I mean, that's a red flag for me for sure.